Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. There's something that our scholars have said, have written about, and I understand that it's a bit gimmicky, but it's not completely untrue. Where they'll talk about things like Shaitaan is more experienced than any of us. Shaitaan is just more cunning and sharp than any of us. He's sharper than any of us. And while that's a somewhat it's phrased in such a way to catch your attention, but there's a certain truth and reality to it. He's been playing this game for a very long time. He's a veteran. So what does he do? He's got the tricks. He knows the tricks of the trade. He knows what buttons to push. And so when you are praying 5 times a day, Shaitaan will not come to you and say, do not pray. Like Dhuhr today, he won't come and tell you, don't pray Dhuhr. Because you, as somebody who has some semblance of awareness and cognizance and awareness, are not going to abandon prayer. You will outright reject the idea of abandoning prayer. If the thought crosses your mind, hey, you know what, Dhuhr? No problem, let's let it go. That will never be palatable. You'll never process that thought. Because you'll be like, well, that's ludicrous. That's obviously ridiculous. Why would I ever do that? So you'll reject the idea outright. So that's not how he's going to approach you. How he's going to approach you is he's going to say, look, I know that it's time for Dhuhr right now. I know they're making the jama'ah for Dhuhr right now. But let's be honest, you've been here since 10 a.m. You're kind of tired, you're getting a little sleepy, started to doze off in the last session. And after Dhuhr, there's more sessions. Sheikh Yasser will be with us after Dhuhr. You really want to pay attention. You came particularly to listen to the Sheikh. So what should you do right now? You should go and get some coffee. You should go and get some coffee. Now, it just so happens that the little coffee place that they have inside the hotel has a line of 300 Al-Maghrib people at it. Right? Because everyone's thinking the same thing. Shaitaan's busy. So it's got a line of 300 people. So now you go, you're going to walk over to the parking garage, you're going to get in your car, you're going to pull out your car, and you're going to drive out over to the mall. And then you're going to go get your coffee, and then you're going to come back. And now what happens? They are already done praying Dhuhr. And then you're going to say, well, but the session already started. This was the session that I've been waiting for all day long. So you know what? Let me just go, just sit in the session, and then you can pray afterwards. So now you're going to come and sit down in the session. And then that session will finish, and the next session will start and be like, oh, this is the other session I was waiting for. And that session will finish, and you'll just start to think like, oh yeah, man, I better hurry up and pray my Dhuhr. And then that brother, right? Like it's his fault. Right? He's going to get up here on the stage and make the adhan for Asr. And you'll be looking at him like, I can't believe you would do that to me. He did it. It's his fault. That's how Shaitaan operates. Now what naturally happens after that? Once that Asr adhan is called, now there's guilt, which on an individual level can be helpful, but Shaitaan now further, he's going to turn that knife. And that guilt will become despair. And that despair will become frustration. And that frustration will eventually, very unfortunately, devolve, will rot, will fester, until it becomes a full-scale crisis of faith. What kind of a religion puts that type of pressure on you? What kind of a God makes these types of demands of you? And then God forbid, wal-a'yadhu billah, that person will say, well, I want nothing to do with such a religion or such a God. You see this, the trajectory and how terrible it was. This is how Shaitaan operates.